I don't even know. Like, I'm not even prepared.
I'm not prepared either, but I'm just gonna wing it.
Okay.
Because that's what we do best.
Okay. Not really, but okay. Hi guys! So for today's video, we're going to be talking about 2 of the resorts that we've stayed in that are not French Quarter.
Exactly.
Because we always talk about French Quarter. Let's be real. I'm going to start because I'm so unprepared and I have no idea what I'm going to say.
Okay, go ahead.
As you guys know, when I went to Disney this past March, I stayed in Port Orleans Riverside, which is kind of like the sister hotel to Port Orleans French Quarter. So I've only stayed in those 2 resorts at Walt Disney World, and I love them both so much, but they're like completely different. Riverside's huge. Like, it's really big, but it's probably not as big as Caribbean.
Beach, okay.
Like, there are 4 different bus stops, if that gives you like a sense of like how large it is. At French Quarter, there's only 1. It's so beautiful. Like, it's just like picturesque. I know my vlogs suck, but you can go back to the first day vlog when I'm taping at the resort. It's just so beautiful. There's like water everywhere, and they have all these little bridges, and each of the, I guess, hotel buildings, because there are different buildings much like French Quarter, are designed to look like southern mansions. And it's just so beautiful. Like, I think, like, if there's one thing that I love most about that resort is how beautiful it looks. Like, I would go back just to look at it. And I didn't get to do it this time, but you can actually rent bikes and like bike around the resort, which is something that I would definitely be interested in doing in the future. I'm not sure what the pricing is, but I know you can do it for a few hours or you can rent the bike for the whole day, so that's really cool.
Do you know what the restaurant is called at Riverside?
It's another Sasagula.
Is it really?
I think it is. It's like Sasagula something, or it's like Floatwork something. It's like one of the. It's really similar to the name
in French
Quarter, but it's also, I think they have the same foods there. I didn't eat at the restaurant there because it's also like cafeteria style. It's not like a sit down.
Okay.
So you can just go and you order your food and you eat there. They also have a boat that takes you to Disney Springs, like they do in French Quarter, so you can take that, which I totally recommend. I didn't do it this time, but I'm assuming it's the same, boat that they have for French Quarter, and it's a really peaceful, relaxing ride, so I would definitely recommend that. I feel like I'm saying all the same things that we talked about in French Quarter. It's really similar, just on a more like grand scale.
What about like the transportation? Like, did you feel like you were stopping at every stop? Like, was it annoying?
I mean, like I said, there are 4 stops, and like usually like I was not the first stop. I was like either the 3rd or the 4th, depending. It depends on like which building you're at. To be honest, I had a really bad experience with the transportation this time, and I don't think it's because of the amount of stops. It's just because like Disney bus transportation sucks in general, and I like ranted about this before, and it's mainly picking us up from the park that's the issue. It doesn't really have to do with the resort. The only thing with the resort that I don't like is that it takes forever. Like, after one bus goes, you have to wait another like 15 minutes for the next bus to come. But they do now have like a screen at the bus stop that tells you what time the next bus is coming for each park.
Okay.
I don't know if you had
that.
Yeah, they had that.
Okay, Disney, upping up there.
Upping up, but no, the service is still pretty like crappy, so until they fix that, I don't care what time it comes, just come. So I would definitely recommend staying in Riverside. I think I want to stay there again, like honestly, like they are French Quarter, like I'm just gonna go back and forth.
That's good though that you had a good experience.
Yes. And the people, the cast members that work there, I mentioned this in the vlog and even like in my highlights video, that they gave us like free fast passes because me and my sister were graduating. So they're very like accommodating and they're very like friendly there. So definitely recommend.
So I'm gonna talk about the Caribbean Beach Resort. I stayed there December of 2014. So it was pretty crowded because it was around Christmas time and New Year's. As you guys know, French Quarter is a lot smaller in size than a lot of the other resorts, and I was actually really surprised to see that Caribbean Beach is freaking huge. Like, it is so big, and it's a moderate resort. That's what I didn't understand, because I thought value resorts are like the bigger ones with a lot more rooms, right?
I don't know.
Maybe I'm wrong. So it's really big compared to French Quarter. So that was like the first setback, like when we realized that it's gonna take us a long time to go around the resort. There are 6 buildings that are named after an island in the Caribbean. Let me tell you what those islands are. Okay, the buildings are grouped in 6 villages. That's what it says. So there's Barbados, which is where we stayed, Martinique, Aruba, Jamaica, Trinidad North, and Trinidad South. So each village, so whichever area you're staying in, has its own pool, and it also has its own like sandy area where like there's a big, it's not a beach, but it's kind of resembling a beach. There's like hammocks that you can stay in. So obviously the theming is spot on. It's beautiful because it feels like you're at the Caribbean. The only downside is because there are 6 different sections, the transportation sucks, just like Nina said, because you're basically going through each section and the bus has to stop each time, loading on passengers, going to the next one. People are getting off, people are getting on. There's also a bus stop at, it's called Old Port Royale. It's like where the restaurant is, where the gift shop is. I don't know what the restaurant is called. Like, you know how Sassagoula Floatworks is kind of like a cafeteria? We're always using Sassagoula Floatworks as like a comparison. But like you get to go up and you get to like see different things that you want to eat. Old Port Royale is actually bigger than Sassagoula Floatworks. It has a lot more variety in food. So they have like a pizza station, they have like a burger station. So I really did like Old Port Royale. But like I said, because there's 7 bus stops, because the 7th one is Old Port Royale, it does take a really long time to get through the resort. Sometimes it took us like 30 to 35 minutes.
Just going around the resort.
Just going around the resort.
Not that it's like the guest's fault. Like this is totally Disney. Like
I'm not talking about the guests.
Yeah, like
no.
Disney, you have billions of dollars. You can afford 2 extra buses for the larger resorts. Like, let's be real.
And then it also was annoying because like I said, we were staying in Barbados. Barbados was literally the last one to get off. Like when we're coming down and we're like exhausted, it has to go through everybody else and then it gets to Barbados and that's when we go down. But then there were some times where we were the first to be picked up. I don't know, it really I guess depended on what route the bus was taking that day. And then I also didn't like that Old Port Royale was like in the middle and like I said, we were in Barbados. Barbados is right next to like you said, the lobby. So it was far away from Old Port Royale. It was like a 10 to 15 minute walk to get to there unless you're taking the bus. But that's also annoying because you have to wait for the bus to get on the bus, then you have to get to Old Port Royale. So that's really the only big annoyance of that resort is that it's too big. So if you're going mostly to stay in the resort, then this is definitely the resort for you. If like you're going to like just chill and relax and enjoy like the sand and all that stuff.
And you don't care about like getting to the parks on time or you don't have reservations, then
it's really not that big of a deal because you'll enjoy
it. Or you have your own car.
Oh yeah, literally. So if you have your own transportation or if you're taking an Uber, people take Ubers.
In Disney?
Yeah, some people take Ubers and I'm like, what? Why would you take an Uber if there's transportation? But then I see the transportation and I'm like,
why?
Okay, now I understand why people are taking Ubers. So like I said, the theming is beautiful, the transportation is a little
I think most moderate resorts, like the rooms are very similar.
Yeah.
Depending on like, I guess what type of room you get, it's usually like 2 queen beds and then they have like a fridge and a TV and like, you know, the bathroom accommodations. So the rooms are pretty much like standard all around. We're just sort of talking about like size-wise, restaurant-wise, and like transportation issues. This is mainly like a rant video.
It's not a rant though. I really do like the Caribbean beach.
And I love Riverside. Like the bus issue is basically an issue at every resort from what we've stayed in. So I would definitely stay in Riverside again. Would you stay in Caribbean? No.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Caribbean beach lovers.
You should definitely try Riverside.
I should.
Because it's not as big. There are only 4 bus stops, which obviously
it's not that bad.
It's not that
4 is not bad, but 7, that's a little excessive.
And like there's not enough space on the buses sometimes. Like there'll be a bus and then it'll fill up and then you either have to wait for the next one or you're standing there for like however long it takes for you to get back to your stop. And the guys that don't get up not even for me, like there are children, like little kids who are like trying to hold on for dear life and there's guys just chilling.
Alright, so if you stayed at Caribbean Beach and you had an awesome time, how did you manage your time when you stayed there?
Or if you've stayed in other Disney resorts besides the ones that we've mentioned.
Oh yes.
Let us know how the transportation is there. Let us know what you recommend, what other hotels there are that are not like deluxe resorts because we broke.
I hope that you guys enjoyed this and that we did not come off as snobby people because that's not who we are.
Disney.
We do. We love Disney. We really do. And like we said, we love the resorts. It's just that Caribbean Beach is just not for me because everybody has different preferences.
And Disney, if you're watching, which you're not, please step up your bus game. Like, you can do so many renovations at the parks, you can like update every ride imaginable, but if your bus system sucks, you're not gonna be bringing in the guests.
Exactly. Thank you so much for watching.
And as always,
have a magical day. Bye.
Bye. So for today's video, we're gonna be talking about the resorts that we've stayed in at Walt Disney World.
Not all of them.
Oh, we're not?
No.
Oh, what the hell are we doing?
You're talking about Riverside.
That's it?
And I'm talking about Caribbean Beach.
Okay.
Because we talked about French Quarter.
All right. Ready? Let's just redo the whole thing. I look weird.
No, you don't.
Okay, 1, 2, 3.